just for a month? You pick it.
And what I was prepared to address today, which I can address now that you've given me that opportunity, is the number of people that come on an average week to the Dunwoody facility. Right now, the average number of people that come to the Dunwoody facility is 100 over the course of a week. So it's not that intense, okay? They do intend to grow, so I can't. Staff people, they have 20 staff, 10 in 2 different shifts, one during the day, one during the night. So they've got 2 shifts of a total of about 20 people. Now, the staff will be adjusted as the population of their parishioners grow, just as in any church. And this is, I mean, look, there's no question. They bought this facility because they want to grow, and they will grow. But I will tell you, it's not going to end up in a Buckhead Church situation. If it ends up in a Buckhead Church situation, they're going to buy another facility that can accommodate a larger number of people at a single gathering and go forward at another site. Because this site is not geared to large gatherings. It's geared to small gatherings.
Just so happens that I wasn't going to speak this evening, and I'm not going to say what center I run here in Atlanta, but I have 8,000 students, and I have a parking issue often. I would be very, very curious to see the information that you're going to provide, how many people come, because currently, if I have 275 students in the evening taking classes in, let's say, 15 different classrooms, I currently provide 285 spaces, parking spaces. And when you say that they're doing group study, that means that you have 2 parking spaces needed for everybody. It's not like when you have an assembly where the whole family gets in the car and goes to church. It's a different situation, and I think it's going to be very curious to see exactly how many classrooms are affected, because I know what my parking problems are on a daily basis, and we barely have room for all of that, and I know our neighbors are very, very upset when we spill out and to the block and park on the side and all of that thing, and I have to have the police and all these things. And so, and we only have 10,800 square feet. So with 45,000 square feet approximately, I'm really quite curious.
Okay.
So I think we have concern.
Okay. It just meant this lady here was a question first.
Yeah, I noticed Mr. Galloway brought up the examples of other facilities that have recently been completed. I feel it should be fair to mention that there are also a number of Scientology buildings around the country and around the world that remain in a state of incompletion.
In a state of what? I'm sorry.
Incompletion, that have not been fully constructed. There's a place called the Super Power Center down in Clearwater, Florida, that's been in limbo for years. The city has started fining them for leaving things in disarray. And the notion that the notion that the Church of Scientology knew what they were doing when they bought the building, their history doesn't exactly support that notion.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nancy, I'm still a little confused on the parking and traffic. And what confuses me is if they don't have a specific plan for how many classrooms or the use of the other 44,000 square feet, how is it that the planning department can consider their zoning request?
Well, we're going to be, and you've raised a number of issues that we're going to be asking the questions about. We're going to try to address this issue and get a good handle on it. I mean, you have raised both the parking and traffic issues, and you've raised the appropriate questions for us to address. Now it's up to us to get with the applicant and make sure that we get that kind of information. That's why I said what I did at the beginning about this is just the beginning of the process. And before I go on, I want to just remind everybody so we don't lose anybody else before I say it. This case will go before the Planning Commission on May 21st. That will be here in this room. And the conditions of zoning and the recommendation on it should be up on the website on the Monday before the Thursday, which would be the, what, 17th, 16th, 18th? Whatever that Monday is. 18th. Okay. I can't count backwards very well. But we expect that it will be up at that point. That's when it becomes available to you, and you can plan on coming here. We're going to, I mean, what the whole purpose of this meeting was to exactly raise the kinds of issues that you've raised so that we know what you're concerned about and we can go and address them. And you did a great job because you've raised a lot of issues that are important, and they're important to you and they're important to us. Tricia?
Would you please tell everyone if they have additional concerns, how they can get those to you?
We actually have a site, you're going to have to give me the P&Z email address.
They can send it to me, I can give my call.
Okay, well then we're going, okay, Linda's going to receive your comments. And it's linda.aberray@sandyspringsga.org. You got your cards here? She does. So just go ahead and pick up a card from her, and you can email her on any additional comments that you have. It is helpful to us to have those. That's why we come to these meetings, because otherwise we wouldn't know what you're concerned about. You know the situation where you live much better than we're ever going to know it, and that's why we rely on you to come and tell us. So are there any other comments or questions? Yeah.
What time is the next meeting? Because this was supposed to be at 7 and that was switched to 6, so.
The Planning Commission is at 7 p.m., I'm sorry.
Okay, and I'm confused about the application numbers at 001 or 003.
It's RZ09-001, and then the concurrent variance number is CV09-003.
Right.
003?
That's for concurrent variance, not, the zoning case number is RZ.
Right, 001.
Yeah.
But then the last number's 3 because it was 1 on this card. I think you and I talked about that.
Yeah.
And I got confused again about it, so it's the 3. The last number is a 3.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Which I
ma'am.
think is
It has been emphasized that the Church of Scientology does not hold traditional Sunday morning services, and also that they do intend to grow and that they have these courses that they hold throughout the day. So my concern is that if it was a traditional Sunday morning service, the neighbors could know that just, they need to avoid the area at that time. But if this is going on throughout the day, all days, on the
All night.
weekend, how are you going to avoid the traffic from when the classes let out?
Well, let me address kind of the general issue, and then we can talk about it if you want. The first thing is, what you've done is you've raised a whole series of issues about how they operate, which is what we're going to be addressing as part of dealing with the finalization of conditions of zoning for the case. The answer is that for large events, we will probably put a condition on them which requires that they notify the neighborhood groups, and we'll set up a process for doing that. We've done that at schools, and we do that for facilities where periodically they'll have a very large event. The reality is that you're going to know a lot more by the time we get to Planning Commission and the case is written up, because we'll have a better sense of what these activities are during the day, when they occur, etc. But the answer is that religious facilities have broad protection under the U.S. Constitution, and so it is going to be our job to make sure that their rights are protected, and the police power that is exercised under the zoning provisions of our ordinance are also addressed and dealt with. And those issues address the traffic and the parking and the way this facility operates in